All right, really want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend today's webinar, 10 Steps to Making Boudoir Photography Comfortable for Everyone. My name is Kevin Casey, and I'm a product and workflow consultant here at collagesWebinar, and we'll be hosting today's webinar along with a very special guest, Kellie Coughlin. Kellie is joining us today from Denver, Colorado, and I want to take a minute to thank Kellie and just see how you're doing today.
I'm doing great. Thanks, Kevin. I'm very excited. All
right, awesome. So before we actually get into the webinar, I just want to go over a few basic features of how to use the webinar software. If you have attended one of our webinars before, you've probably seen this screen, but it is really just to let you know that if you need to at any time maximize or minimize the window that you see here, all you need to do is click the orange arrow found up here or even right here, and this will allow you to maximize or minimize this window. If you do need to ask any questions throughout the webinar, I do ask, since all of your speakers are muted and can't actually communicate over the phone, I do ask that you do type in all of your questions that you see in the chat field here, and as Kellie is presenting, I will be answering the questions as she goes along. So without further ado, I am going to actually pass the screen sharing over to Kellie, and I am going to let you take control.
Thanks, Kevin. Okay, hi everybody. My name is Kellie Coughlin, and I am a wedding and portrait photographer in Denver, Colorado, like Kevin already explained. But I'm going to talk today about a couple basic steps that I've recognized while shooting boudoir photography over the last 3 or 4 years. I started about 3.5 years ago with boudoir photography when one of my brides came to me a couple months before a wedding and said, hey, I've been hearing about this thing, and I think I want to do this as a gift for my husband-to-be. And so I looked into it, and it was definitely something I was excited about. And so I said, sure, let's do it. And I did her session for free and learned a lot from just that first session. And then after we looked at the images, she put together a beautiful album, purchased an album from me, and then gave it as a gift to her husband. So after that successful first shoot, I approached my other brides and said, I'd love to shoot you for free so I could make a portfolio, and then you would have these awesome images to give as a gift. And I was lucky enough to have 10 girls let me photograph them and start my portfolio off, and that's how I got to where I am today. So I'm going to talk, like I said, about 10 steps that I've recognized over shooting boudoir photography. And what I'd like to do is go through the first 5 steps, and then there's kind of a breaking point right before the 6th step. And maybe there'll be some questions that you guys will have, and I can answer them halfway through. And then, obviously, once we finish the seminar, I will answer any other questions. So here we go. So the first step is to make initial contact by phone or in person. The majority of my clients contact me for the first time through email, and I like to reach out with a phone call if they leave their phone number in the email so that I can kind of get an idea of maybe how shy they are or how excited they are, and instead of just replying with a standard email and saying, well, let's find a date to shoot, and here are my packages. So almost always in the email, the girls will end their email with, I'm really nervous, or I've never done this before, and I'm kind of scared, so any help that you could offer. So it's a great way for me to be able to make light of the situation and explain to them that every girl says that, and that that just means that it's going to be extra special for their guy if they're nervous and excited. So then I invite them to meet with me here at my studio so that we can get to know each other prior to the shoot. We'll talk about where they want to shoot and any questions that they have. I offer a few different packages where we can shoot here at my studio or at their home, or at, I have relationships with a few local hotels that will give me a day rate to shoot in their rooms. My favorite is the Oxford Hotel in downtown Denver. It's an old classic hotel that the decor and everything is the same as it was in the late 1800s. So it's really romantic and just neat. And then here at my studio, I have about 800 square feet inside, and then a huge backyard with, in the summer and spring, there are big grapevines, and it's a cool backdrop. But inside my studio, I have an exposed brick wall. I have a white seamless, obviously. I have these big, beautiful windows that the natural light comes through, and I have sheer white curtains and hardwood floors. So all of those are really neat setups to use for the boudoir stuff. And it's all very private here, too. So the conversation that I have with her for the first time at our informal consultation sets the standard for the rest of the relationship with my boudoir client. So I think it's really important to be very lighthearted, and I try and make her feel as comfortable and relaxed from the beginning, and let her know that she can have all confidence that the shoot's going to go smoothly, she'll be comfortable, she's going to be really excited about the end product. The second step is to understand her idea of nude before the shoot. So I feel like everybody has a different idea of what nude means, and when they start thinking about doing a boudoir shoot, one girl's going to have, a concept of Victoria's Secret, and another girl's going to have a concept of wearing, shorts and a tube top. So that's part of the initial conversation that I have with them, is how nude they want to be. I like to know if they'd rather just suggest nakedness through lingerie, or if they want to bear more in some of their shots. And a great way to get that conversation going is I'll make suggestions on clothing and see how they react to those suggestions, and then I'll also refer to images on my website, or tell them to send me some of their favorite images that they've seen, and so then that helps us get on the same page of what she envisions as how much she wants to bear during her shoot, or what she envisions as boudoir, and what the person that she's doing the shoot for will like the most. The third step is to set the tone of fun and relax right away. So when she arrives at the studio or at the hotel room, or when I get to her home, I greet her right away with big smiles, and I make every effort to make her feel comfortable while she's still in her clothes. And that's usually a big switching point, is when she has to take off the clothes. The nerves come even stronger then. I'll introduce everyone, and usually there's a makeup artist on set, so I'll introduce them, and then sometimes she'll bring a friend. I've recently been doing a lot of girls who will come together to do 2 boudoir shoots, but they'll be each other's cheerleaders. So it's just a way of them feeling more comfortable, and it works. And then I always offer everyone something to drink. I love having champagne. It just adds to the romanticness that's happening, and also helps cut the nerves as well. Then the fourth step is it's important to keep everyone in the know so there are no awkward surprises. Basically, I just want everyone to know what's going on before we do it, to kind of prepare, and then we can ask questions then, and just feel comfortable from the get-go. So we'll look over the wardrobe that she brought and choose which outfits she wants to use during her shoot. I usually suggest to bring at least 3 outfits, and then if they bring more, it's great. If it's a lot of times, I'll just we'll plan on shooting in 3, maybe 4, depending on how the shoot goes, depending how much time they want to spend shooting. I'm pretty flexible on that idea. After we choose the outfits that she's going to wear, she and the makeup artist will consult and talk about how she envisions her makeup for the shoot. So the trends for makeup have changed a lot, even over the last 3 years. I seem to notice that the girls 3 years ago would love the big hair and like smoky eyes and kind of pale lips. And then recently it's more of just like a neutral kind of look. I think I like to know that I can depend on my makeup artist to be comfortable with all the current trends. She's also a fashion makeup artist here in Denver, so it's really good to have a makeup artist that you can trust and know that's going to be able to do what you want, what the client wants. And then this is the point when I'll kind of explain to her the timeline of how our shoot's going to go. Once her makeup's applied, she'll get her first outfit, which I usually choose the most conservative outfit to be the first outfit. Because after she does that first outfit and we shoot for a little bit, she gets more comfortable. But it's that first first initial shooting time when we need to warm up to each other and she needs to get comfortable with the idea. So the most conservative outfit first, and then we kind of just pick the next favorite outfits after that. Usually choose her favorite outfit for the very last because we're gonna know the most about each other by that point. So she changes and then we shoot, and then she changes and she shoots, and so on. Then the fifth step before we shoot is to take advantage of the downtime prior to the shoot to get to know my client even more. So while she's sitting in the makeup chair, I'll use this opportunity to chat and schmooze to make her feel even more comfortable. Typically, I plan on the makeup artist spending 20 to 30 minutes applying makeup. I like it if it's only 30 minutes, but sometimes it'll take a little bit longer depending on obviously what the client wants. But too much time applying makeup kind of like that makes the shoot longer. So that's something else I like to talk with my makeup artist about beforehand. Like, she knows that a solid 30 minutes should be a good amount of time. But I've worked with a couple different makeup artists and they've taken a little bit longer, and I've noticed it makes the shoot longer, so not always as nice. But while the client and I are chatting, I'll ask her about why she's doing the shoot or who she's doing the shoot for her boyfriend or fiance, her husband, for herself, or for a friend. And that conversation almost always opens the door to learn more about her personality. And it'll also give me a few anecdotes that I can use during our shoot to kind of make the situation light and make her laugh. So, for instance, if I ask her, how she met her boyfriend or her fiance, and then she tells me a funny story, or talk about the last vacation they went on together, or something special, and so then I can use that as motivation while we're shooting for her to think about the nice dinner they had the night before, or think about how excited he's going to be when he gets his book from her. And those expressions on her face will show in the photos and make her feel more comfortable and give us great photos too. Okay, so this is the point when, in the presentation, when I kind of transfer over to, we're shooting now, so this would be a great time for me to take any questions that you guys have so far.
Kelly, do you play any music while you're shooting the boudoir session?
Definitely. I invite the girls to bring their own selection of music. I have a little iHome here, or I have, Pandora. I'll say, what's your favorite artist, and I'll put that on, and it just plays in the studio. Definitely have music playing. From before they even walk in the door, I'll have music going.
Okay. And do you encourage, is it included in your package with the makeup artist, or do you allow your customers to do their makeup beforehand, or do you just say, don't worry about the makeup, we'll take care of it once you get here?
I strongly suggest they have a professional makeup artist do their own makeup. And they don't necessarily have to use the makeup artist, but if they don't want to hire the makeup artist that I use, they can have it done before they come. But I let them know that this is, it's an investment that they're making, and the makeup is a big part of it. But I don't require it by any means. I have a package that doesn't include the makeup artist, and I can easily, make a custom package if there's something specific that they want, but it doesn't include the makeup artist. I'm open to that, but I let them know that I highly recommend having a professional do her makeup.
Okay. And then as far as the wardrobes that your customers bring, do you spend a lot of time discussing what they should wear, what they shouldn't, or are you giving them a lot more? Are you giving it more flexibility for them to choose what they want to wear for the shoot with a couple of suggestions from you?
Yeah. So on my website, I have a section called "What to Wear on the Day of the Shoot," and I have a bunch of suggestions in there, and I suggest a couple little boutiques and shops around Denver that they can go shopping in. And then I also, in the emails up to the shoot, when we plan their shoot date, or when they send me any questions, I'll make suggestions about what to wear. I keep it kind of vague. Like, I'll say a few selections of sexy high heels, some cute panties, lacy patterns, different colors, and I also suggest bringing anything special that. So if they're doing it for the fiance, maybe he gave her some special jewelry or a special lingerie set. I'll say bring that definitely, and we can photograph that so that he'll recognize it. But I'd say I'm pretty flexible. It's more of a recommendation to suggestion thing.
Okay, and then the last question before you continue. Do you find your customers are more comfortable when they bring somebody, or do you kind of prefer them to come by themselves? How do you feel about other people being there at the shoot that they bring? Does it make your customers more comfortable?
I think that initially, like for the first 15 minutes of our time together, they definitely feel more comfortable if someone else is there. But I always prefer if it's just she and I and the makeup artist. You know, because I understand where the girls are coming from, where it helps to have a cheerleader there, but sometimes it turns into like where my artistic, sometimes they'll give direction, a friend will give direction, or like talk about what they know they want most. And, so I always prefer that it's just me and her and the makeup artist, but if a friend comes along, it's okay.
Okay, excellent.
Cool. We'll go on. Okay, so now we've done all the preparation. She's got her makeup on. We've chosen our outfits. She's feeling good. She's had a glass of champagne. And so the sixth step that I've come up with is to use the first few minutes of shooting to feel out how to accommodate your client. So this means that during the first 10 minutes of shooting, I'll pay attention to positions and areas of her body that she's most comfortable with. So the first section of shooting I don't count as like the money shots. My real goal during this time is to figure out how to make her comfortable, to discover what she's most comfortable with on her body, and to again set the tone of the shooting portion. So I'll make note of positions and areas of body that she's not comfortable with, and then while we're shooting, I'll encourage her to pose in the positions where she can show off her favorite parts of her body, and then also maybe hide her least favorite parts of her body. So, for instance, if a girl lets me know either by telling me or just by the way she sits that she's not comfortable with her stomach, I'll do positions where she's laying on her stomach or where she has clothing on that covers up her stomach, just so that I know she's going to feel most comfortable instead of shooting with her stomach exposed. All she's going to be thinking about is like, oh my God, my stomach is showing, and I hate that. So I want to make it most comfortable and figure out ways to hide her stomach so that she looks sexy and feels good about it. So here's an example of a girl laying on her stomach. The seventh step is to vocally and visually reassure how great she looks all throughout the shoot. I think it's very important as a photographer for me to pull my camera away from my face while I'm shooting and talk with her and have conversation. A lot of times those will be some of the best pictures when I make her laugh, and then I just pull my camera real quick and capture it. Or I'll even shoot from the hip and get some pictures of her while she's laughing, telling a joke while we're talking. You know, instead of just being behind my camera, and also I'm talking while I'm behind my camera and saying, oh yeah, it's great, it's really wonderful, looks good. And then I'll genuinely reassure how beautiful she looks when I see a pose that I think looks especially fabulous. And this comes back to when I originally had a conversation with her talking about the anecdotes that I can use during the shoot. So talking about how nice the dinner was the night before, and I'll encourage you to keep that same feeling in your mind while we shoot. So I'll get really excited about a shot that we just took because I know she looks gorgeous, she feels gorgeous, the lighting is bright, the mood is just perfect. And so then I'll even preview a few of my favorite shots via the back of my camera so she can see how great she looks. That will inevitably boost her confidence and just up her comfortableness through the rest of the shoot. So then step number 8 is faire de votre art, and that means make your art. And this is the point when she and I are completely comfortable with each other and we can just have fun. We'll go through the rest of the outfits that she brought. We'll maybe kind of try out a few fun, funky ones that we didn't originally choose if she has some. So by this time, everyone's feeling comfortable, and it's time to make my art. And it's when we get creative. Then once we're about to wrap up, I'll ask her before we say we're done. I'll ask her if there are any poses or shots that she would like to have before we finish. So this would be when maybe while she was researching boudoir photographers, she saw a couple different poses, or she saw some stuff that I've done previously with girls. We'll mimic those same shots, or maybe we photographed her in one of her other outfits in a certain pose that she really liked, and we'll take the outfit that she's currently wearing and do that same pose, just to make sure we cover all her bases and she feels good. And a lot of times this will also be when we'll get some really fun creative ones because it's coming from her. And then the 9th step is when I'm back at my studio and editing her photos, I will have taken mental notes of her preferences so that I can use them while editing. This basically means like remembering what shots she reacted positively to when I showed on the back of my camera, or when she told me, well, this necklace that he gave me is really important, or I definitely want to show my engagement ring in the photos. So I'll keep those notes in mind so that I showcase those in her slideshow for sure. And then while I'm editing her photos, I'll be sure to keep in mind anything that she told me that she didn't like about her shoot. So for instance, part of her body that she doesn't like, we talked about stomach or thighs or something that she expressed to me that she's not so excited about, and that I know she just would reject the photo if it was featured. So I won't include these images in her in-studio preview or her online gallery. This is kind of, I should explain a little bit more. So the process that I do is we shoot, and then about 2 weeks later I email her and let her know her photos are ready. Let's set a date for her to come to the studio. And we view them on my flat screen TV here and kind of sit down and we look at all the products that she could use to present to her husband or boyfriend or whoever she's doing this for. So that's the in-studio 3D session. And then I include the online gallery with everyone as well if they want it. So if this is a personal kind of touch that I do to every shoot, if there are images that I really like but I think that she won't, I will crop or retouch accordingly with the hopes that she'll actually like them. So there was a girl that I shot a few weeks ago who told me that she didn't like her thighs. And of course I thought it was ridiculous because she looked gorgeous. But being sensitive to that, I still photographed some shots where her thighs were featured, but in post-production I did a little bit of basic retouching on some shots that I just loved, where I would fix her thighs, knowing that what she didn't like about them, or I would crop the image that her thighs were included, but her face was really beautiful, or the outfit she had on, or the light was coming through. So then when we did our in-studio preview session, I showed her those images that I had retouched and cropped and let her know, hey, these actually look really great. And it was very successful in that scenario because she ended up choosing a few of those images, and hopefully she became more comfortable with that part of her body. And so then step number 10 is discreet and professional presentation. I present the edited files via collagesWebinar with a password-protected online gallery. I never use their name. Instead, I use the Miss with their first initial or a nickname. So, for instance, Miss JC. And then the preview thumbnail image that's for the gallery is a crop shot of their high heels. And I like to do that because it's every girl will come with some unique, sexy pair of high heels. And so it's kind of like their signature. So it's still personalizing that gallery, but it's keeping it private for them. They're going to be the only ones who know that they have those shoes, and no one else is going to be able to recognize that they did that gallery in the scenario that another one of my clients knows that client. So, like I mentioned earlier, I offer an in-studio preview session where she and I view the edited photos on my large screen together here in my studio. And so I do the in-studio session first, and then if they want to have the online gallery, sometimes they just keep that, they have the online gallery so that they can look back at the images, or when they're still deciding on how they want to present them and which images they want to choose, or that will be part of their gift, is they'll say, well, you can view all of the images from the shoot on my online gallery. And some people don't even want to use the online gallery. They're like, this is just strictly for me, so no big deal. And then while she's at my studio, I'll show her all the beautiful albums offered through collagesWebinar that she can use to present her sexy boudoir portraits. The most popular item that I do is an 8x8 black leather-bound album. So she will choose her favorite 20 to 30 images, and then I'll go into the free album design software that Collages has and just upload those favorites and kind of do a design layout. I send her a proof. We tweak it until it's just the way she likes it, and then I send it to us. So those were the 10 steps. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about my photographic influences, specifically for Boudoir and then kind of like the artistic side of my portrait photography. Hassai, he was a famous French photographer in the early 20th century, and he did night photography, which was really like adventurous for that time. And I really love all of he captured the people that would go out at night instead of other photographers. It was very easy to capture, more easy to capture people during the day. So you got some really like emotional and passionate and really great black and white classic images. And Man Ray was another French photographer, very emotional, very seductive, classic, beautiful black and white. I have a huge Man Ray poster hanging up right next to me right now. Then Herbert's was kind of in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. I think he was a famous photographer of celebrities and other people in fashion and stuff. Classic black and white photography, very stoic. And then Nan Golden is kind of like the balance to, I would say, those three photographers, or maybe Bressai is a lot like Nan Golden, but definitely the photojournalism, the telling the story, the caught in the moment kind of photography that just gets me really excited about doing the boudoir that isn't even portraiture, it's more like storytelling. So I had a wonderful professor at CU Boulder who, Melanie Walker, she was an amazing professor that really inspired me. And she would tell me to be inspired. Instead of, finding something to inspire me, I would just be inspired. And I think that mentality has really helped with my business and really got me motivated for a lot of things. Instead of trying to find inspiration, I am just inspired already. And then she also told me, I had this written on my notebook in college, I took her class like 3 times just because I loved it so much. It was the same class, Alternative Processes, and passed with flying colors the first time, but could not take it the last 2 semesters that I was in college. But she would say, don't think, do. Instead of planning out all these projects, and if I had an idea for a project, I should just do it instead of thinking about it so much. And I've adopted that mentality, and that's where I've gotten where I am today. And she also talked about accidents, how, especially in alternative processes, when you're working with film and all those different chemicals and papers, there's so many combinations that, could happen that there's definitely going to be accidents, but you just find them, you recognize them as happy accidents. And there's been some amazing pieces of art that have come out of happy accidents, I think, from all kinds of artists. So that concludes the presentation on 10 steps to making boudoir photography comfortable for everyone. Thank you guys so much for listening and for all your great questions. I want to take some more questions if you have them. You can visit my website, kellycoughlin.com, and then there's a link to the boudoir. There's also, if you just go /blog, you can view my blog, or /boudoir, go to the boudoir page. And then I'm on Facebook, facebook.com/kellycoghlinphotographer. I think that's it. If you guys are ever in Denver, contact me. I'd love to show you around the city. You can check out my studio and connect with you guys. Okay, thank you.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Kelly. I have a lot of good questions to ask you, actually, because it looks like we had a few photographers that might have missed the first couple steps. So if you could, and this also goes to all of our male boudoir photographers, because I know there's a lot of male photographers that kind of have, there's a certain comfort level that you want to establish before going into the shoot. So if you could, if you could just reiterate again on one of your first couple steps. I know that you kind of go over very specifically what's happening, so that on the day of there's no surprises.
Yeah.
If you could just kind of cover that again, that'll help out a lot of our male wedding photographers that are asking questions about, getting into boudoir and how to comfortably transition into that, and what the customers should bring. Like, should they bring a friend to make it easier? I know you might not be able to answer it exactly because you're not a male, but if you have any tips or any male friends that might be shooting boudoir photography as well.
Well, I did have one of my associate photographer that I work with all the time. He did a boudoir session a couple weeks ago. The girl was a friend of his, so I think that helped. But he hired an on-set stylist who was a girl. And he said, he made that decision, and he had a female makeup artist. So the client that he was shooting didn't bring a friend, but the photographer hired a on-set female stylist, and then the makeup artist stayed on set. So there were a team of 2 women and then a man photographer, and I think that was a great choice for him to make. I don't think it's inappropriate to even ask the client when they ask you about doing boudoir photography, like, would you feel comfortable if I had another female on set, or are you okay with just us there, or just asking her straight up, like, what her comfortable level is. Just like when you go get a massage, they ask you, would you rather have a male or a female? I think it's kind of the same thing. Everyone knows it's an issue, or it could be an issue, so why not just ask about it in the beginning? But definitely, that's a good thing to touch on with, like, getting her idea of nude prior to the shoot so that there's no awkward surprises while it's happening. I think the best way to do that is to look at examples of boudoir photography together and see how she reacts to each image. Like, oh, whoa, that's way too much skin, or, yeah, I love that. I would even like it if, there was light coming in this way, or there was less clothes on, or if I didn't have that cloth over my body here. I think the most comfortable way to communicate would be through looking at images together. Is there anything specifically I can answer about that?
No, I think that really answers the question
pretty
much. But another question that I am getting a lot of is, how long is a typical session? And as far as packaging is concerned, is there one package you offer for boudoir, or are there multiple levels of a package you offer, and at different price breaks?
Oh, great, yeah. So first of all, how long is the session? I tell the girl that she should plan on being here for 2 hours, and we usually wrap about an hour and a half after she arrives. So I figure 30 minutes for the makeup artist, and then probably 30 to 45 minutes shooting with me, and then that 15 to 30 minutes buffer of, like, arriving, sitting and socializing, changing clothes, packing up afterwards. But just so no one's schedules get conflicting, I say 2 hours, and we're usually together for about 90 minutes. And then, oh shoot, I forgot the second. Oh, packages. On my website, I offer 3 different packages, and they are tiered. There's the basic one, which is just a portrait session with me, no makeup artist. We shoot in studio or at her house. And then the second one would include the makeup artist. And then the third one is shooting at a hotel with the makeup artist. And so I don't include any albums or, like, presentation products. It does include the online gallery and the in-studio preview session. But all that other stuff is just purchased a la carte. So I show them all the different options they have, and then they can just choose once they see the photos how they want to present it.
Okay, awesome. And then the last question that I have is there a specific temperature that you keep the set? Like, is it, I mean, I would imagine it's probably room temperature, but it's because there's less clothing. Is it maybe a little slightly higher than room temperature?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just keep it at, like, room temperature. It depends on what it's like outside. If she wants it to be so that she's not sweating, we have to have the AC on in here. Or, like, today, it's cold in Denver, so for my boudoir session this afternoon, I just turned the heater on. But that's a really great question. I usually just keep that conversation going throughout the shoot, too. Like, oh, are you cold? Well, let's turn the heat on. Or let's take a break and you can wrap up for a while. Or, you want to go outside and get some fresh air, or it's a little bit cooler out if it's too warm in here. But I don't really have a specific temperature. It's more just like what temperature she feels most comfortable
Okay, excellent. I know I am getting a few other questions about going over the first couple of slides, and this webinar is being recorded so that it will be available for download later on this week after I have a chance to put it back on the blog where you signed up. With that being said, I am actually going to take the screen back over to my end. I just want to touch on a new product that collagesNet has actually recently launched. I'm sure if most of you are fans of us on Facebook, you have seen the story blocks, as you see on my screen right now. Now, the story blocks were recently just released, and it's a great product to keep your customers coming back to your studio year after year. As you can see, these blocks are interchangeable. So each year, as you shoot family portraits, as you shoot any babies, you can photograph the years of their lives, and their parents can actually update these blocks. And there are many different sizes, and they are a very unique product that no other vendor has right now, where you can interchange the blocks. So it kind of gives it that custom feel. And it also really helps your customers come back year after year, just because if they don't like an image, they can contact you. You can get a whole other photo session out of it, and you can update these blocks with new pictures. You know, as the years go on, the parents just need an updated photo. You can get another quick photo. The replacement blocks are very inexpensive. Makes it very easy for your customers to come in and get these remade. And another cool thing is that they actually ship out in 3 business days. So it's a very, very fast turnaround time. And you can check them out by downloading Rose at collages.net/Rose. And because it is a very new product, we do have a lot of new sizes and more pricing coming out in the next few weeks.